Welcome to this week's video in the Skillful Living series. I'm Pamposh Dhar, and today I want to talk about the concept of Maya, that is, the Sanskrit word Maya, not the Central American term. So, Maya more or less translates to illusion. Sometimes it's translated as delusion. Both are kind of some ways to resist reality, if you like. So, an illusion is more about perception, and a delusion is more about belief. At least that's my understanding. But what is this illusion? What is the illusion that Maya refers to? There are two or three ways to look at this. The first one is the illusion of reality. So, what is real and what is perhaps not real? The fact is that everything around us is real, but there are two levels of reality. This is what the Bhagavad Gita explains to us. There is one kind of reality that is subject to change. So, you can also call it passing reality. Now, it may take a short time to change, or it may take a long time to change. It may always be changing at least a little bit, which we may or may not notice. So, if we look at ourselves as human beings, we are constantly changing, but we don't notice that because the change that happens in every moment is not very easy to see. But if you look back to how you were 10 years ago, maybe you might see a change. You look back to how you were as a toddler or as a baby. You may not have a memory of being a baby, but you might have seen pictures, and you compare with what you are today, you can see the change. So, we are as human beings subject to change and subject eventually to passing. We will not last forever in this shape and form. So, this is part of our passing reality, and everything in our world is passing. Even our world itself may be passing, maybe it takes millions or billions or trillions of years, but it may not last forever. So, what is the other level of reality, which is the unchanging and lasting reality? I touched on this last week when we talked about life and death. So, when we die, this subject to change body disappears, it withers away, it decays, it goes. What remains is the soul, which is the unchanging reality. So, this is the difference between the two levels of reality. The illusion is that we start to believe that things will last forever, things that cannot last forever. Ourselves, we forget that we are mortal. But we even apply it to other things like a house or a flat or jewelry or a car. Maybe not a car so much. I think we're all aware that a car doesn't last forever. We have to get rid of it at some stage. But many other things that are very precious to us, we forget that they are real. It's not that they're not there, they're there. But eventually they will cease to be. Everything that is of this world is a passing reality. So, what is the unchanging reality? It's the soul, it's a higher power, if you believe in a higher power. These are the unchanging realities of our world, and perhaps we should put more of our focus on our own soul than we do on our body. Perhaps not, I'm just making a suggestion here. It's up to each of us to decide where we want to put our focus. But do we want to identify more with our body or our mind or our soul? The mind is also part of the changing reality, really, yeah? What else? What else does this illusion mean? Actually, following on from this distinction between what's sometimes called ultimate reality or lasting reality, unchanging reality, between that and the changing realities of our world. Seeing the difference means looking through the illusion, cutting through the illusion and seeing clearly. But because most of us actually still believe in the illusion, this leads us to our second illusion or delusion, the illusion of separateness, that we are all separate because we don't connect that much perhaps to our own souls, and we don't connect to other people at that level of unchanging reality, at that level of the soul. We tend to see ourselves as separate, and because this is reinforced by the fact that we often see ourselves as our bodies or our egos or our identities, our ego identities. So the difference between saying I am Pamposh and my name is Pamposh. I often say I am Pamposh, but I'm aware that there's a difference here. I'm Pamposh now, I could have been named something else, then I would have been someone else. So identifying with the name, identifying with that personality, with the symbols of that personality, that is identifying with the changing, passing reality. And that gives rise to this illusion that we are all separate, we are not connected. So I read an example that explains this a little bit recently, very simple example. So you're looking at, say, 4 gold bangles, and you see each one as separate, which in our world, in a way, they are. But the fact is they're all gold. So there is an underlying connection there. And similarly, human beings are also made from the same stuff. They have the same basic functioning of the body, the same mechanism of the body. They have, each of us has a soul and a body. Each of us has a mind, whether good or bad or indifferent, that's fine. But we have these things, we have the same set of emotions. Some of us focus more on one emotion than the other. Some tend to get angry very easily, others tend to stay calm. But we have access to the same set of emotions, feelings, and the same possibilities for thought. And I have lived in I have been fortunate, I've had the privilege of living in 10 cities on 3 continents. And I have seen a lot of differences in culture, in outward looks. But I think basically human beings have the same concerns everywhere, they have the same emotions, as I said. So there's actually more connecting us than dividing us. The divisions, the differences are more at the surface. There's another analogy for this. Supposing you're holding in your hand a glass of water. So that glass of water looks to you, or to me, if I were holding it, separate from all other water. There may be a jug of water lying nearby. But you see the 2 containers of water. You're focusing on the container. You don't see that it's all water. Now, if we were to pour the glass of water into that jug of water, it all becomes one. Because it is the same. Essentially, it's all water. Only the containers are different. If you take your glass of water or now your jug of water to the sea and pour it into the sea, it becomes part of the sea. And it is impossible then to say, oh, that's my water, the water I put into the sea. You cannot separate the drops of water and look at them separately in the sea. I mean, you can pick it up, of course. I'm not saying you can't do that. But while it's in the sea, it's all one sea. So we are, as human beings, all connected at that higher level of reality, if I can put it that way. The level of the soul. This is what the Gita teaches us. There is another illusion that many of us suffer from, and this relates to happiness. Where does happiness live? A lot of us chase a lot of illusions, a lot of mirages in a sense. I'll be happy if I have a bigger house. I'll be happy if I have a flashier car. I'll be happy if I get promoted this year. Of course, these are all good things and things we all enjoy. I mean, sure, and I'd love to have more money as well and more work and reach out to more people with my work. But where will I actually find happiness? In the end, I have to turn inwards to find happiness. What I do might add to my happiness if it gives me a sense of purpose, but acquisitions will give you passing happiness. Again, that distinction between what lasts, at least for a while, and something that just comes and goes, and also is not entirely dependent on yourself. If you find inner happiness, then it's up to you to hold on to it, to keep it, to remain happy or not. But if you find your happiness in external validation of some kind, whether it comes from feeling successful or rich or powerful or comfortable, but if it comes from outside you, then it's not in your power to hold on to it. So I feel this is an illusion as well that many of us do suffer from. But the good news is that we can start to see life more clearly. We can lift some of the veils that cloud our vision and find true joy and happiness which lasts at least for the length of this lifetime. Thank you. Thanks for listening and watching, and I will see you next week. Thank you.